CFL Combine one-on-one with Hamilton Tiger Cats head coach and president of football operations, Orlondo Steinauer. How critical was Bo Levi Mitchell in helping you guys recruit this free agent class?
Yeah, Bo was, like I said before, when we talked or in the earlier league meetings, he was instrumental in some cases, and I think he just was all in to do anything that he could to help us. And so you'd have to ask the other players and that sort of thing, but I think it didn't hurt us at all.
You really turned over the roster a lot, and if memory serves, it might have been the most active free agency period since you've been at the head there in Hamilton. Why was that?
Well, sometimes it just works out that way. Some of it's intentional. Some of it, we had some offers out to some people, and they opted to go in a different direction. And we had a plan going in of trying to, maneuver our roster in certain areas, and also people that we're counting on to make big jumps that were currently on our roster. It's not always about acquiring every free agent in the most statistical categories and those type of things. It's about finding the right people to join your team, and this is just one of those years where the turnover is a little bit heavier.
There was one of your own, Simone Lawrence, that was maybe out there, not re-signed as quickly as maybe the fans had hoped. Right. What do you see his role going into 2023?
Yeah, Simone's, there's no doubt, he's one of the most fiercest competitors that I've ever been around, that I've coached. He loves football, he's passionate about it, and I know that he's going to come into training camp. He was injured last year quite a bit. I know he's hungry, and so I'm excited to see him come in and try to regain some form and be the best version of himself this year.
All we see from him on social media, I feel like, is him at yoga or Pilates or in the gym.
Oh, yeah.
And it's cliche to say, but could he be entering training camp in the best shape of his career despite his age?
I would say that Sim's always been in great shape, to be honest with you. And so the best of his career, I don't even know how to answer that. I expect him to be in shape. One thing unique about football is you can train a bunch. Everybody's going to be sore in training camp.
Will he be a starter for sure entering training camp, or will that be a competition?
Everything's a competition. There's a competition across the board. That's what we do, right? And we create that in our practices. We create it in the meeting rooms. We create it amongst the team in all different facets. So just because you run out there with what we call the A group, everything's being evaluated.
One of the sexiest ads, and I'll make that my term,
okay,
I think on offense was James Butler. A lot of people thought that he's one of the best running backs in the league, very versatile guy. Mm-hmm. That's my opinion, but what's your breakdown of him?
Yeah, well, his play speaks for itself. He's dynamic. I think he's willing to do whatever is necessary. Like I say, the play speaks for itself. I think what really impressed me was the person. He's just an outstanding person. From the time that we spoke to him on the phone to the time he walked in the building, and then when you do your due diligence and you talk with other people and that sort of thing, everything just kept getting checked. He's just an outstanding person, and like I said, I could go on. Oh, that's. Is
that a fine?
Huh? It has been in the past, but I'm not going to fine myself. Again, he's just an outstanding person, and even talking with Figueroa, was with him in the locker room. Just everything was awesome about him, and like I said, his play speaks for itself.
In the last number of years, you'd kind of approached the running back position by committee. Where did the decision come from to go out and get a number one guy like James Butler?
Yeah, we do everything collectively, and moving forward, we just thought that when you have a chance to get a dynamic player like that, that you exhaust all those possibilities, and so that's what we did. And you don't always win those. Sometimes we weren't the only team that wanted him, and so we're fortunate that he chose us. And when you talk about by committee, sometimes it's due to injury and that sort of thing. And so there's just a lot deeper dive than just by committee as a general statement. Sometimes that's just what the direction we had to go.
Duke Williams was another dynamic ad, although he had his moments last year in Saskatchewan that we saw him throwing a helmet in pregame warmups, some antics on the sidelines. Did you have that conversation with him before he signed with the Ticats? Because I know how much you value culture in the locker room.
What Duke and I talked about, I think he's an outstanding person. this Hamilton is a place that he wanted to be. Things that happened, those are out there, they're documented, they're on film, that sort of thing. Everything was taken into consideration as we did our due diligence on all of that thing. Obviously, we were satisfied with our findings, and we're excited that he's a Hamilton Tiger Cat. I think he's going to be a great addition.
You got Joel Figueroa there at left tackle. What does it mean to have that position cemented as one of the best guys in the league?
We're excited. That was a high target for us, somebody that we knew we were going to probably have to pay top dollar for, and it was something that we had collectively targeted, and you still don't know how it's going to end up. And so, yeah, it feels good. And plus, you know, we have a little bit of history with Figs, right? And he's been in our building, and so to see a familiar face back in there and to know at this point in his career he's still playing at such a high level, again, we're excited to have him in our building again.
There's been a lot of people around Hamilton talk about Grey Cup or bust, and you're hosting it for the second time in 3 years, if my math is correct. I wasn't a math major.
Right.
But what was it like to go through 2021 knowing you were hosting, and how can you use any of what you learned that year in 2023?
Well, for those players that were there and the coaches that were on the staff, yeah, that's an experience that they've been through. It won't be the first time, but we're just going to take it day by day. And, you know, it's we understand the goal every year is to win the Grey Cup no matter where it is. We're well aware of where it's at and the last time we won and all those type of things. We don't dodge those, but we don't focus on that.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate your time.
All right.